Alright, folks, welcome to the best decision you've made in your life. This is the smartest thing you've done since you were born, being in CU. This group is the group where I'm going to send every single new lesson, every single Q&A, every single update, any link, any, when it comes to the events, when it comes to the one-on-one, everything is going to be posted in this group, right? And this video is lesson number 1. Lesson number 1 in CU is every single one of you is going to fail. 100% of you are going to fail miserably at this game. All of you. And see you in lesson 2. Alright, folks, welcome to CU. And this video is going to clarify how CU works exactly. Right now, CU is going to be conducted in 4 different parts. First of all, the video library, number 1 and 2. So video libraries, and then book 1 and 2, and then CSS, and then finally in-person events and private forum, right? Now, the most important and the lion's share of information is going to be in the video libraries and the books. Right, so the most important 2 things that are going to happen in CU over the course of the next year is the video libraries and the books. So pay extra attention to those 2. And then, of course, you'll have CSS and the in-person events, which are also important, but not as important as the first 2. Right, the video libraries. You'll have 2 main video libraries, and these 2 will be the 2 main sources of information along with the books. Right, video library number 1, the basics, and video library number 2, a mine of gold. The basics will be shared starting from the 15th of November, and a mine of gold video library will be shared from the 1st of February onwards of 2026. Plus, there will be also the video content within the private forum, plus Q&A videos, plus trade review videos posted in the CU channel. All right. So those are the video, that's all the video content you'll see in CU. And put your focus on that, because that is going to be a very large portion of the information of CU. Next up, you'll have CSS, which is CRT Secret Society, which is going to be an ultra-exclusive small group of 15 CU students. That's all I'm going to say right now. All right, because I don't want to... this is a great opportunity, but I don't want to... I'm not sure if I have time for this, but I'll confirm in February the final announcement of access to CSS. And this is only available for CU students. If you're watching this, then you're in CU. Right. Next up, you have the books. You have book number 1 and book number 2. Book number 1 will be announced and launched, and you can get it on the 1st of January 2026. And book number 2, which will be more advanced, will be announced on the 1st of May 2026. Right, so after the video library, the next most important thing is going to be the books. And then finally, we have in-person events with the dates, as you can see in front of you. Now, these are very likely to happen, right? So they're probably going to happen. They will be fun. However, these are not the most important thing, right? As I said, the most important thing is going to be, right, and write this down in a notebook right now. The most important things, most important elements of CU, which you need to study, like your life depends on it, are the 2 video libraries and the books. And then come CSS and in-person events. Now, of course, the student who ticks all these boxes and masters video library number 1 and 2 and book 1 and 2 and is lucky enough to become part of CSS and attends the in-person events, obviously he will learn and earn more than the person who only focuses on one thing, right? So the more effort you put in learning everything as much as possible, then the more you will learn, and the more you learn, the more you earn. Make sure to watch this video again if you missed anything, which you probably did. Right, to watch it again. I hope you found this insightful. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in the next chapter. All right, folks, welcome to lesson 3 in CU, mindset shift. Now put aside whatever you're doing, and grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea or whatever drink you like to have, and pay full attention. One thing I will say before we start is never binge watch any of the CU videos. Don't Netflix series, YouTube short these videos. Watch them attentively and with purpose. Right, whether you're watching now or you're rewatching later, or you're one of those who's going to watch this video in the next 2-3 years, then watch attentively and with purpose. Now, first of all, forget everything you know before this course about trading. Clear your eyes and clear your mind. Right? Second of all, if this is your first trading education, which is not going to be the case for most of you, then consider yourself very lucky, because others have polluted their brains learning other nonsense, and they will be slower than those who haven't had any formal education other than this, right? Now, most of you inside CU, those watching now and the future viewers, 99% of you will lose. You will always lose. You will never have success in trading. And I don't say this to make you afraid or to put you off trading. No. In fact, the reaction you have when hearing this is thinking, how do I become part of the 1%? Now, you need to study the course exactly how I tell you to. Learning is a two-way street, right? I am the best trader in history. And I've trained tens of thousands of successful students and traders. Successful meaning they've reached millionaire status in US dollar from all walks of lives. I've trained doctors and lawyers and engineers and cashiers and CEOs of companies from all different walks of life. I've trained people from zero to hero. But I can only help you if you are willing to help yourself. Right? I am the best trader and the best professor and the best teacher, but you also have to be a good student, right? Because there's three types of students, right? Type A is the student who is going to be successful regardless of the teacher, and these are rare. And then type B is the student who is going to be successful with a good teacher and will be unsuccessful if he has a bad teacher. And type C is students who will be unsuccessful regardless of how good the teacher is, right? And most people fall into type C and type B categories, right? So aspire and try to be type A, which is those students who are successful regardless of the teacher, right? Now here's some learning instructions. You follow these instructions to make the most and learn the most in CU. First of all, delete all your social media. Anything to do with trading, delete it. Unfollow everyone. Leave all courses. And some of you have a bad habit of buying every course you see from my students as well, which is a very bad habit, which I am very much against. Right, so unfollow everyone on Twitter except me. Unfollow and unsubscribe to everyone on YouTube and Telegram and Instagram except me. Avoid multiple sources of information. And second of all, listen attentively to every word that leaves my mouth. Right? The best of the students that I've trained, and I've trained thousands and thousands of students from all walks of life, you have to try and emulate the best of them. And I'm giving you me giving you this tip is going to save you a very long time of learning and stumbling around, right? Which is the way of my successful students, right? The best of my students, they listen to every single second, and they're so obsessed with the teachings that they memorize my tone of voice, and they know pretty much what I'm going to say before I even say it, right? And they try and understand the profound wisdom behind my words, right? And that's how you have to be. If your reaction to this lesson so far, or anything I said in this lesson, was, okay, just shut up, Romeo, and just teach me. If that occurred to you even once, then you have failed. Fix your mindset, your approach to this, and approach this from a completely different perspective than the one you are right now. Right, so rewatch this entire thing all over again with the correct mindset. Right, put aside your prejudice and your preconceived notions about me. Try and ignore my ego and focus on the value of my teachings. Learn and apply with a critical mind. Right? Do not be like a donkey carrying a lot of books on his back, which means you memorize and you memorize and you memorize and you memorize and you don't apply. Right? And buy a specific notebook for CU. Right? And note down every single thing I say, and then go ahead, which is the classic way of taking notes, right? Which is, first of all, note everything, and then you summarize those notes into further, more important, more specific notes, right? So listen to everything, digest everything, and then create your version of the everything which you heard and digested, right? Welcome to CU. Welcome to the most profound, deep, advanced educational program in the history of trading, in the history of the world. Welcome to the truth. And for those who will try and watch the leaked version or try and leak this, you can't leak it because there's many elements. There's the books, there's the libraries, there's the private forums, there's CSS. This is unleakable. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in lesson 4. Alright folks, welcome to lesson 4 of CU. What is trading? Now, trading is the simple action of exchanging one thing for another thing, right? It happens every day in the form of physical objects being traded for money, and it happens online as well in the form of e-commerce, selling stuff online, and a subdivision of online trading is what we do, is trading money for stocks, bonds, commodities, forex, crypto, etc. All right? So what we're doing is a form of online trading. Now, the history of trading, a very brief, rough, gross, oversimplified version of the history of trading is that 10,000 BC, we had the first ever trading-related evidence observed. And then around 3000 BC, we had the first ever recorded trade activity It was found in Mesopotamia, which is modern day Sham, which is around Syria, Iraq, Turkey, etc., the Middle East, other than the Gulf, right? And then in 1602, we had the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, which is the first ever form of modern stock or trading ever recorded. The Amsterdam Stock Exchange it was founded in 1602, and it is considered the birth of modern day trading. It was the first ever official, tradable, manipulatable stock exchange, right? And it was obviously physical. They go in and they physically scream and shout at each other. It was very chaotic. And they go and buy, whether it's stocks, bonds. They even had short selling. They had FX in a very early version. They had derivatives, right? So it was a complete stock exchange, a very primitive form, but it was a stock exchange. It was the first stock exchange, and it is what gave birth to stocks, bonds, commodities, forex, crypto, right? So they all sprouted out of the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, right? And this is why this matters, is because perhaps there are some of you, those who are watching this in CU, or those who watch this years down the line in CU, if you've ever had the question, is trading a bubble that's going to stop? Then the answer is, there were people short selling in the 1600s, right? And they probably thought even back then that yes, it's a bubble. It's not a bubble. It's going to exist for a long, long, long time, right? There's people, I know them, that they are traders. Their fathers were traders. Their grandfathers were traders, right? The way they made a living was being a full-time trader, right? So trading is not going anywhere. It will evolve in how it's conducted, but it's not going anywhere. Just a few decades ago, in order to place a trade, you had to call someone to place a trade for you, the broker. Right now, you can do it from your home. Right, so the way we trade has evolved, but the trading itself, making money from financial markets, from the stock market, from the crypto market, from the forex market, it hasn't changed, and it will never change. Right? It'll only become more convenient and easier moving forward. So that's a word of that is a word to calm those who are nervous or who are uncertain about the future of trading. Trading is here to stay. Right? Now, we went from the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, which still exists, by the way, today. Today it's called the Euronext Exchange, right? We went from there to physically going into the market and trading the stocks and the commodities and whatever, to now we have TradingView on our phones. It has never been this easy to make life-changing money, right? So this is an opportunity which I can't push you to live trade, right? That's not my place, but I can advise you all, and I can tell you all how it was with me. It's the most profitable way to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort. Now, this doesn't mean that you go all in tomorrow, right? Whenever you hear this, no. It is to give you a perspective, to shine light on a new perspective, a new way of thinking. Right? And who knows what the future is going to be? Are we going to be able to trade with chips we have implanted in our heads? I don't know. We'll see. Right. Now, the evolution of the charts. The charts started off in the 1700s. And the first ever candlestick charts were invented by the Japanese. Right. And that is the beginning of the open, high, low, and close. Now it is what we have today, TradingView, and the future is unknown. Only God knows the future. The greatest invention in the history of trading was the candlestick chart. And the most important part of the candlestick charts I will point to you at, and the bulk of what we will work with. This little history lesson was cool, but what you're going to focus on mastering is the candlestick charts, the open, high, low, and close. Right, so a bearish candle, and look at and focus on this slide as I talk. Right, if you lost focus, then rewatch again. Finish watching this time, and then rewatch again, with focus and a notepad in hand. Right, so just, look right now at the chart. You see in front of you the image of the open, high, low, and close. Right. In a bullish candle, you'll have an open, low, high, and close. And then you have the open, high, low, and close in a bearish / down close candle. Right. Right, so on the when you have a bar chart, and this is how to read bar charts, is the open is on the left side of the candle, and the close is on the right side. Right. Now, mentally absorb this slide, which is a further delving. It's a further delving into the charts. This picture right here is the bulk of our focus within the open, high, low, and close. Right, so CRT is not just open, high, low, and close. CRT is much more profound and a much more advanced, nuanced, more effective concept than simply blindly trading the open, high, low, and close. Yes, we have the open, high, low, and close in CRT. Right. But CRT is the system. You don't have to think about learning anything else ever again. You'll have CU, you'll have the books, you'll have... that'll be enough. Right, for those who want CSS or whatever, in-person events, that's also great. That's going to be excellent refinement, and it'll take you to an even higher level. But mentally submit to the fact that CRT is the path forward with me as the inventor, right? And prepare for a fantastic year full of education in the year 2026. And the content of CU will be eternal, right? So it's going to be timeless. Even if in the future there are some other courses, there will be a completion and a refinement and building on CU. CRT University. The information here is timeless information on how to trade CRT. the most complete information on how to trade CRT is right here. You're watching it right now. Now, this chart you see right now, you see these pictures? These pictures are what we're going to study and see you in depth. These pictures, these simple pictures right here in front of you are how I earned millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions using nothing but my phone. These pictures, these two photos in front of you, are how my students have generated billions and billions of dollars in profit, and still do till this day. And will keep generating in the future, right? Forever. Absorb the pictures and absorb the magnitude and feel the importance of what you are partaking in. Right? And resist the urge and the feeling you get of being bored or seeking like rapid information, right? Resist the urge and submit to the process. It's going to be a journey of 1,000 miles, and it starts with this one step. I hope you found this insightful. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in lesson 5. Time and CRT. Now this is it's a very cool part of timing the exact CRT during the week, during the day, and so on. And this is an excellent way of limiting your chart time, and that's why it's designed. Instead of being stuck and glued to your screen all day long, begging for a setup and just trying whatever happens, you're going to learn through the power of time to be very selective, right? I don't care if it goes up or down or left and right and just whatever happens, I don't care. What I do care about is my setup there, and is it time to take a trade? Now, you all know the kill zones, right? If you don't, then go back to lesson 8. The kill zones are the first element of trying to limit your trading time to a certain duration of the day, right? A certain period of the day. And the next level is blending CRT with that, right? So you saw definitely in the previous lesson, Monday opens, Tuesday goes up, right? It's a very volatile Monday. And then Tuesday opens, it stabs into the Monday high, and then breaks down during Wednesday, into the Monday low. Thursday jumps around, and then Friday marks the low of the week. Now what's happening here is 1, 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? All that's happening here is candle 1, 2, and 3. So again, using and going back to X-ray vision, you're going to turn Monday into a candle, and then Tuesday into another candle, and Wednesday into the third candle, which goes down into the Monday low. And this is the Monday range CRT. Right, so you're going to use the Monday's range, the Monday candle's range, as candle number 1. And then candle 2 is going to be Tuesday, and candle 3 is going to be Wednesday. I have many students, right? They DM me and they email me to this day. They comment. They have found immense success. They have found immense amount of success trading nothing but this model. Right, so all they do is when the trading week opens, then they watch out for Monday to create a range, and Tuesday to turtle soup that range, right? Turtle soup right there. And then on Wednesday, they enter all the way down to Monday's low, right? So candle 1, 2, 3, and that's all they trade, and that's how they've made. That's how they've had an immense amount of success with trading just this. Right, now, obviously, you can switch it up sometimes, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. But every 2 weeks or so, there is almost always a Monday CRT model, right? Or at least some sort of daily CRT model throughout the week. And that's the power of CRT. When I'm asked, and I'm asked very often, how do you guarantee that it's going to keep happening? Because it's simply how the charts work. As long as we have access to the charts and trading, which will be for a long time, at least until into the foreseeable future, then this will keep happening, right? And the same exact concept applies to the 4-hour CRTs, right? During the day, every 2 days or so, you are guaranteed to almost always see a 4-hour clean CRT setup. Why? Because of the numbers, right? And this was a very powerful realization, and it always is a really powerful realization to those who learn it, right? Is realizing the abundance of setups. Have you ever had the feeling when trading that this is going to be the last setup ever, and that's an irrational fear that most neophyte beginner traders have? Is, this is the last valid setup for the entire month, and I need to be inside this one right now, otherwise price is going to go and massively dump 10,000 pips, or it's going to go down 10,000%. Right, so this is the absolute last chance for me to enter before price explodes and never comes back for the next 10 years. If you felt that, and all of you have felt that, that's a very common irrational fear, which is calmed down and treated by this stat I just gave you of both the daily candles and the 4-hour candles. Right. Which is why I also always say that focus on trading the weekly candle range, and the daily candle range, and the 4-hour candle range. And you better be taking notes of all of this, right? Because I'll be checking the notes later, and the best again, this is an announcement, a mid-lecture for those who are paying attention. The best note taker will get a free book. Right, that's a small, tiny little gesture from me to those who take taking notes seriously. Right? So focus on these. And a lot of the success you'll find in trading is through restricting yourself, not through adding more options. Right? So limiting your behavior and limiting the time and limiting the amount and type of trades you take to a certain very high quality. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, it's an excellent, beautiful, easy trade, right? And that's also perhaps something else that you feel like you take good trades, right? You take a lot of good trades, excellent trades. But you also take such shitty trades that the good trades you took don't matter because you took so many shitty trades that the good trades are overshadowed and drowned by the shitty trades. Right? And the fix is to restrict yourself to trade only a certain setup at a certain time with certain criteria and rules. Right? CRT and time can either be day 1, day 2, day 3, or week 1, week 2, week 3, or the daily division in hours, 4-hour candle 1, 4-hour candle 2, and 4-hour candle 3. Right? Why? Because during every daily candle, you have 6 4-hour candles, and this depends on the asset class. But you're going to follow the sequence of 159, 159 to time your 4-hour candle trades. Right, 159, 159. In futures, in the futures market, it's 2 4 10, 2 4 10, and so on. Right? One five nine. The weekly is obviously week 1, week 2, week 3. But that's more for using to finding the bias of the next week, which is very important, which sets the tone for the daily candles, right? Excuse me. Right? Now CRT, one more thing it does, it includes everything inside the system. So this right here is a simple CRT, candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, right? But also at the same time, using X-ray vision, you realize that it's more than that. Because inside this candle is a whole lot of dumping. Range, trend, turtle soup, dump, range, SMT, dump, into candle number 2, right, which opens, it probably goes a bit higher, it bumps into an FVG, and then dumps massively into a key level. Everyone thinks it's going to 0, but that's a trick, and it explodes higher. Perhaps even creates a model number 1 on the lower time frame over here. And it explodes higher, closes like this, right? And closes above the high that broke the low, waiting for candle 2 to go and smack back down as an OTE, and then explodes higher, breaks above the 50%, right? And then gives you a kiss of death, turtle soup, before eventually attacking the the original consolidation, the OC of the market maker model, which is in fact nothing more than a C1. Right? So all these concepts which I just explained to you basically the market maker model done the correct way. The real or the original way the market maker model was introduced, whether it's by ICT or by Wyckoff, is a very simplistic, ambiguous sort of way. Narrowing it down to candles is the correct way to do it, right? And all the concepts are encapsulated inside candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. This is why CRT is everything. All the concepts, all the terminology you saw me teach you in lesson 8 were applied in these 3 candles and are applied in every single CRT setup. Right? And I can just hear someone in the back of the class, if this was a real class, saying, yeah, but what about entry models? Next lecture is specifically for entry models and the only types of entry models that we have, right? CRT is everything. Here you have an order block, here you have an FVG, here you have a breaker, here you have an OTE, here you have a key level, here you have standard deviation, here you have a second leg, here you have an SMT, here you have power of 3 as well, here you have X-ray vision, here you have PLP, right? Here you have everything. Everything is encapsulated in candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. That's the framework. Is using old highs and lows to produce a reaction and trade that reaction. And you can quote me on that. Right? Using old highs and lows at key levels to potentially profit off of the reaction of those key levels. Excuse me. Now, CRT subtypes. CRT subtypes. Type 1 CRT is the most basic, the easiest, and most favorable CRT to trade, which is candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. That's simple, right? And in this instance, you want to focus on trading candle number 3, right? This is the most favorable CRT to trade. And when it comes, it is a joy to see, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for example, 1, 5, 9. The second subtype is, and for CIC students, this is a quick brush up. Second type is candle 1 and then candle 2. Both takes the high and the low, right? So this you'll see a really fast price action, whether it's high impact news or whatever. But this is a fast price action. This is one of the most difficult types to anticipate. Type 3 is candle 1, subtype 3, candle 1, and I will be quizzing you on all of these in the group chat. Candle 1, candle 2, and then candle 3 goes down in multiple candles, right? So instead of this, it goes that way. That's subtype 1, subtype 2, and subtype type 3. Excuse me. A trademark cough at this point. It's part of the brand. Subtype 4 is candle 1, and then there's a pause inside candle, and then there is candle 3 is manipulation, and candle 4 onwards is distribution. I don't like calling candle 3 in this case. In this case, I would still call this candle 2, because inside candles don't really count as candles because they happen inside the previous candle, right? But they are candles and they did happen. So for accuracy, for the sake of semantics, let's call it candle 3, right? Subtype 4 is candle 1, candle 2 inside, candle 3 turtle soup, and then it takes multiple candles to go down to the target. And obviously these are less favorable types, right? And then you have subtype 6, which is candle 1, and then candle 2 turtle soup, candle 3 turtle soup off turtle soup, and then candle 4 onwards goes down. And this one really trips out. Perhaps a lot of you were tripped out by these, and you said fuck this scam, but it's not a scam. You are simply uninformed. There's many ways the candle happens. There's many subtypes which you have to learn and adapt to. Right? Now, these are subtypes of the wicking CRT, which is obviously the ideal scenario. There is a subtype 7, which is the candle closing out of the range, either up or down, in which case you will trade a continuation. But there is an important asterisk to put over here, which is every single trade you take has to be based off of some manipulation, which is why this is only one subtype, which is the breakout subtype, right? Excuse me. Close above, meaning you go and the next candle, you buy into the open of the next candle, breaking out of the range, which is not the common thing to do. I don't want any of you to get used to be only breakout traders, because that it falls into the it makes you mentally anticipate trends and breakouts, which is not what I want you all to do at all, right? That's why subtype 7 is the only subtype dedicated to breaking out, right? But it is there. It's a very important distinction. Any subtype, when there's candle 1, then any subtype it's unknown beforehand, right? You have to watch and wait for the adequate reaction. And a very key pointer here, which I have not taught before in the subtypes, is that every single subtype has the ones you see right here in front of you. There's one very important thing missing right now. I'll give you 5 seconds to stop and think about what's missing. Right now, some of you stopped, some of you kept watching just to find out. All of these candles have within them, through X-ray vision, they have breakers and FVGs and SMTs and ranges and trends and everything. This picture right here is encompassing the entire market. This encompasses technical analysis, right? And by the way, when you see this happening, candle 1, candle 2 does not hit candle 1, and then candle 3 goes down here, excuse me, then this is a type 1. Why? Because this was an SMT most likely, and an SMT is pretty much as good as a turtle soup, right? What's missing here, though, is every single subtype in this picture has a relationship with a key level, key level, key level, a higher time frame key level, key level, key level, and key level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? I hope you found this insightful. I wish you all good luck, good trading, and see you all in lesson 10. Alright folks, welcome to lesson 6, the magic potion. Now, one of the core concepts you have to train yourself to get used to in trading is slow growth. Slow but consistent growth. Right? Not sudden, impulsive, exponential growth, and that will happen. If you focus on growing slowly but surely for a long period of time, then that's going to become your norm. Your norm is going to become you growing slowly. And eventually, and this is going to happen to every single one of you who sticks around long enough, eventually you will have an explosive month or year or even trade which completely changes your life. But along the way and all the way up until that moment of exponential growth, you've already been growing slowly but consistently. And that is the magic of compound interest. Right? So again, if you find yourself to be a hasty, impulsive kind of person, then you're going to have to go and train yourself to not be a hasty, impulsive person. You're going to have to train yourself to change the way you are. And that's a very difficult part for most people, is admitting they are flawed, admitting they're flawed and fixing the flaws, staring into the mirror and fixing the person that they are. Right? Because most people are just incompetent, inadequate, and not built to succeed in trading automatically. They have to go and forge themselves into a successful trader. And that's not a bad thing. Now, in trading, we have 3 major concepts which are very often mixed up due to the lack of reliable compiled information on the internet. But here you have it. You have technical edge, you have risk to reward ratio, and you have risk management. 3 very closely related but mixed up concepts, which will be cleared right now. Technical edge, excuse me. Technical edge is, and this is not some internet definition, this is my definition. Right? I don't borrow information from other people. I create and author information. Right? So a technical edge is a data-backed technical analysis system which you deploy as your principal trading strategy when participating in the market. Very simple, straightforward, and that's a theme I want to get you used to and see you. Is I don't delve too much into unnecessary details, right? So just keep it short, sweet, and useful. Risk to reward is a measurable quantification of the amount of money in dollars or euros or whatever, the amount of money you risk in order to make a certain amount of money in return. Meaning, if it's 1-to-1 RR, what does that mean? That means you're risking $1 to make $1. 1-to-2 RR is you're risking $1 in order to potentially make $2. 1-to-3 RR is you're risking $1 in order to potentially make $3. Right? And of course, the larger amount you place in the trade, you simply multiply that by 100 or 1,000 or whatever. And then you have risk management. Now, RR, risk to reward, and risk management are often mixed up. RR is the amount of money you risk in order to potentially make a certain amount of money. And risk management is the art of closely monitoring, quantifying, and controlling what percentage or what percent of your entire trading account you lose per trade. Right, and now we have a question, which is, which one is more important? And before we answer the question, a summary of these three. Technical edge is basically your strategy. RR is how much money am I risking in order to make how much money? And risk management is how much percent of my entire account am I losing per trade? Right, is that clear? And if you haven't been taking notes up until now, then this is the time to stop, pause the video, and grab a notebook and a pen and start writing down everything. I remember in the previous lecture I told you to have a specific notebook for CU. All right? I'll give you 10 seconds to get a notebook. All right. Some of you did, some of you didn't. And if you didn't, then go and get it right now. Now, which one is more important? Technical edge, win rate, or RR and risk management? And this is a question I want you to answer in your head right now before I reveal the answer. Which one is more important, or do they carry the same weight? I'll give you 5 seconds. Now, if you answered technical edge and win rate, then you are wrong. The more important concept to master and understand and prioritize is RR and risk management. And the reason for this is simple. If you have your risk management on point, then you can lose. You can win, you can lose, you can make money, you can lose money, and over a large enough sample of trades, you will end up being profitable. Right, obviously with CRT and Turtle Soup, with my system, you will have a higher win rate if you follow the teachings. But even if you don't, then risk management and a good risk-reward ratio will save you. If you have a very, very, very high win rate, 90%, which none of you is going to have, so let's say 70, 60%. If you have which is considered pretty good, by the way, if you have 60%, then that's an excellent win rate. If you have 60% or 70% win rate, and you win 9 trades in a row, right? Or 8 trades in a row, you can easily blow your account on the next trade because you don't understand risk management. And that's an example I give often to both to my students in order to demonstrate and drill the idea of the importance of risk management. Risk management prevails over your win rate and your strategy. Right, so it is the foundation that you stand on. It is the mountain that you go and you you rely on, and you can lay back on it, and it'll hold you when times are tough, when you're on a losing streak, when you're not so on it, right? When you are having a bad time and letting your life affect your trading, right? You're fighting with your wife, you're fighting with your family, or your husband, and you're letting your personal problems spill into your trading, therefore fucking up your trading. Maintaining a good risk management will keep you alive long term. Now, when you pair good risk management with a high win rate, then that is the recipe for exponential growth, and that comes after a long time and a lot of practice. But once it comes, it's yours forever, and it's very, very worth the long wait. Right? Now, another reason that risk management prevails is the streak of death. That's what I call it. And it is the concept that every single trader, no matter how experienced, will be faced by the 8-trade losing streak. It comes unannounced, right? It's a lethal, unpleasant surprise to the unexpecting trader. No matter how good you are, if you trade long enough, then you will be faced by an 8-trade losing streak, which means you will place 8 trades and you will lose them all. If you don't have a good risk management when you face this streak of death, then your account will be blown. And rule number 1 in trading is preserve your capital, because if you have no capital, you can't trade. Right? If you have an account, then you can make a mistake and you can place another trade and fix your mistake. But if you have no more money left in the account, right? If you take the account from $10,000 to $0, then you can't trade anymore. Unless, of course, you go and deposit more, which is never the solution. The solution is never to keep depositing more money, right? That's just silly. Because insanity or stupidity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting another result, right? So depositing more is never the answer, even though it's very tempting, right? It's like a restart button, and that's where you can go down the casino mindset. Just deposit more and play again. That's not how trading works. Right? It is the reality of most traders, but that's not how it's supposed to work. Fix your mistakes and preserve capital, because you never know when the streak of death is going to come. It could be your next trade, right? And it should be on your mind when every single time you place a trade. Yes, every single time you place a trade, you should have it in the back of your mind that, you know what, this could be the beginning of an 8-trade losing streak. Am I risking adequately? And yes, you can go ahead and say, you know what, Doc, that sounds a bit paranoid. And I will answer that with, yes, it is. I am a very, very paranoid, conservative trader. And that's how I've reached the level I've reached. By being very paranoid and very, very conservative. Because I'm controlling my risk. I have limited risk. And therefore, unlimited or asymmetric reward. Right? And only the paranoid survive, folks. Now here's another table. Once you understand this, then you have this table gives you the confidence in the power of risk to reward ratio. Right, so one thing is risk management, and another thing is risk to reward ratio. And this will all be part of the exam. So study hard next year. Now, with a 1 to 3, let's start from down. With a 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio, you need to have a win rate of 25% to make money. Right, which means if you are using a fixed 1 to 3 risk to reward per trade, and I don't advise using fixed risk to reward, right? We'll get into that later. But if your average risk to reward ratio is 1 to 3, then you only have to be right a little bit more than 25% of your trades to make money, which means you can lose, out of each 10 trades, you can lose 7 trades and you will still make money. If you have a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, which means you risk $1 to make $2, then you have to be right a little bit above 33% of the chance only in order to make money. Right, which means you can lose, out of every 10 trades, you can lose 6 trades. And if you only have a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, then you'll make money, right? And so on. And of course, the more you decrease the risk to reward ratio, the more win rate you need, right? But we're aiming for the last one, right? Which is a 1 to 3, which is pretty reasonable. It's not too exaggerated. Aim for an average, like most of your trades will be 1 to 3 risk to reward, and that way you only need to be right a little bit more than 25% of the trades you take, which means if you are right 3 times out of every 10 trades, you'll make money. If you are right 30 times out of every 100 trades you take, you will make money. And that's something to pause and think about, because that's incredible. Right, the power of blending risk to reward with understanding just how little you need to have, how little of a win rate you need to have. Blending that with a risk management is a magic potion for consistent compounding growth, which over the years ends up being something massive, because as the saying goes in Arabic, إن الجبال من الحصى. إن الجبال من الحصى. Mountains, don't belittle a small one. Mountains are made from pebbles. Right? Journal. The most important trading book you will read in your life, after my book, is your own trading journal. Right? Again, the most important trading book you'll read in your life is your trading journal. Most of you probably don't even have, and I'm pretty sure don't even have, a physical book. Probably not even a digital, like organized book where you journal your trades. And that applies to most traders. Most traders do not have a trading journal, and most traders fail. They fail miserably long term. Now, why a journal? In every single profession in life, and again, I'm going to remind you mid-lecture again and again, to make sure to note things down. Right, and later I'll include a note-taking guide in the private group. Right, but take notes. Why a journal? Because every single professional in every single profession around the world journals in some way, shape, or form. The doctor, right? When I have a patient, then I have to, when he comes in, before touching him, I have to ask him his medical history, his allergies, his, I register information in a piece of paper. Same thing with the engineer, with the lawyer, with even the cashier has to give you a receipt, right, at the most basic level. So journaling and registering information is a part of every single professional. So you as a professional trader, why should you not journal? Right? It's a very, very powerful tool. And it is, I dare say, it is the difference between a profitable trader and a non-profitable losing gambling addict. Right? They're not even worthy of being called traders. If you don't have a trading journal, then you're not worthy of being called a trader. You're just gambling and playing around. You're not serious about this, right? Because the more serious you are about trading, then the more effort you put, the more money and time and mental fatigue you spend, right? So you can quote me on that, which is the difference between a profitable trader and an unprofitable trader is the trading journal. Right? Now, journaling rules. Have a physical book for journaling. Journal every single trade you take. Yes, every single trade you take, no exceptions. Including before, during, and after photos and details of each operation. For example, I'm looking. It doesn't have to be too complex, right? Because I know some of you will go down the hole of focusing too much on the journal and therefore less on the trading itself, and vice versa, right? But balance is the key to life and is also the key to journaling, right? So you should have, a quick example is, I'm looking to buy Bitcoin at so-and-so before, with a picture, at so-and-so key level. Before, during, after. During, Bitcoin has reached the key level, and I'm now buying because of so-and-so. And then after the trade is over, which is either by the stop loss or the target, right? So the trade is over either by hitting your stop loss or by hitting your target, or by you deciding to manually close it because you didn't like the reaction, which is also valid. Right, but every single trade you take should be journaled with photos and details of each operation, before, during, and after. Some more tips is write about your emotions and reactions. Excuse me. And this is not something to gloss over. Write about your emotions and reactions to price and to each trade you take. Because eventually, and this is going to be part of the second video library, is a very high level of trading is trading on emotions. Now, it doesn't mean trading emotions, it means trading based on emotions of the masses, which is something you'll learn later, right? Use encouraging language in your journal. Don't insult yourself. Don't say you suck, you're retarded, right? And I'm pretty sure you've been through that, all of you, is you lose and you start, you take it out on your family, on your friends, you abuse yourself, and it can range from a very, very low level of, just self, like punching the wall, or cursing whoever's near you, all the way up to suicide. And I've seen all cases. May God prevent us from reaching that level, right? So it's very important to train yourself to not overreact. Use encouraging language in your journal Don't insult, don't cuss yourself, don't abuse yourself, and don't curse yourself, right? Be very pragmatic, be very logical, be in trading, be emotionless, right? And the journal, one of the biggest goals of the journal is to become a mistake correcting machine. Because the goal is not to have pretty drawings and pretty photos. That's good because it shows that you're good at. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So if you have a pretty journal, that means you are good. You're an organized person. But never miss the end goal of the journal, which is to correct your mistakes. Because what matters more than the glitter and the glamour and the outfit is the result and the action, the substance. Right? You're using the journal in order to correct your mistakes. You make mistakes in trading. You lose. You fuck up. You don't know what you're doing. That is going to be corrected by your trading journal. Right? And it can be summarized really in my law of journaling, which is win, journal, repeat, lose, journal, avoid, miss, journal, catch next time. This is the summarized assessment after each trade. Right? I hope you found that insightful. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in chapter 7. All right, folks, welcome to lesson 7. And this is where we get into the technicals. This is the juicy stuff. Lesson 7, which market to choose. Now, the main markets we have are Forex, futures, crypto, and commodities such as metals, right? Gold and silver. These are the main markets that we have to trade. Now, your job is to pick one. You need to pick one and master that one market. Right? You have to know that market inside out. So, for example, if you choose Bitcoin, then you have to know Bitcoin inside out on all time frames, all the way from the 12 month all the way down to the 1 minute time frame. Right? So step 1 is choose a market, decide, make a decision that I am a crypto trader, for example. Step 2 is absolutely dissect that market inside out. You should know that market like your name. Right? So you should know the market like the back of your hand, like your name. On all time frames, you should know how a CRT plays out on your market, how often. You should be knowing the shape of different models on your market, right? Because yes, the concepts are universal, but they look slightly different in each market, which is something we'll see in the private group, in the group chat, right? But pick one market, master that one market, and know that one market like the back of your hand. Right? And then, after mastering that one market, then you may diversify. And if you see opportunities arise in another market, then you may capitalize on them. But not before completely mastering your market, knowing it inside out. And this is a point of contention for a lot of people because they don't want to pick, and from the technical lessons won't have PowerPoint PDFs, right? We'll be in the charts. The problem is that most people most traders especially, they don't like the idea of facing themselves, which is why if they lose in one market, then it's very simple. It's very simple to simply go and say, you know what, fuck this market. I lost in Bitcoin. Let me go and trade euro. Okay, you know what? They stopped me out in euro. I'll go and trade futures. And just like that, hopping from one market to the other with no real understanding, no foundation, no base, nothing. Random gambling, just pressing the buttons for the heck of it. That's one kind of person. The other kind of person, and by the way, that one kind of person is most of you right now. And even after finishing CU, it's still going to be you, because most of you simply don't have what it takes. And I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying it so you identify that that is the reality and choose to be part of the 1%, those who trade one market and absolutely dissect that one market inside out. They know it on all the time frames for the past 10, 20, 30 years, right? So if I show you a chart, and this is something you've seen me do in public, right, is I have the ability to reproduce and identify the exact day if you simply show me any high time frame chart of any main asset class. Right, that's something I had to go through. Right, so memorize your asset class on all the higher time frames, especially for the past 10, 20, 30 years. Right, what does that mean? For example, those who need direct orders to learn. If you choose Bitcoin, for example, right? So if you choose Bitcoin, then I want you to go and memorize the entire Bitcoin weekly chart and monthly chart and daily chart for the past 10 years. Right, and if it goes back further, then further for the other asset classes. Right, and I'd even go ahead and go as far as saying that memorize even the 4-hour charts. Right. Right, so to summarize lesson 7, how to choose the correct asset class, or rather choosing asset classes. Step 1, pick an asset class. Step 2, dissect it inside out. Know it like your name. Specialists in life always get paid better than generalists. Right, so a general practitioner in medicine, for example, gets paid less than a specialist. And the same thing happens over here in trading. Those who specialize, and I know a lot of veteran traders who've been trading for the past 30, 40, 50 years, right? Like actual real veterans, not the clowns you see on social media. Right, and most of them have two things in common, and this is a very important insight. Write it down. First of all, they have mastered one chart of one asset class. They know it inside out. They know the exact time the high and low of the week are going to form on that asset class, for example. They know exactly when it moves and when it doesn't. And the second thing is they are short-term to swing traders. Nobody scalps. Right, no profitable trader is taking 100 trades a day. Right? And that marks the end of lesson 7. I hope you found this insightful. And a reminder to make sure to rewatch every single lesson multiple times. Excuse me, multiple times, because every time you rewatch the lesson, you'll pick up on something you missed during the previous times. And anyone of you who thinks that they have that they can gather all the information and learn everything from the first time, You can't, you're wrong. Stop being arrogant and rewatch it again. It's for your own good. I can't force you, but I can remind you. Right? Don't cheat yourself of a complete learning experience. Rewatch the entire thing multiple times with notes. I hope you found this insightful. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in lesson 8. All right, folks, welcome to lesson 8 of CU Technical Paradise. Now, before we begin with the details of the charts, we have to really focus in on understanding this picture. In this picture, on the left side, you have smart money, the liquidity provider. And on the right side, you have speculative, uninformed money. This is everyone. So on the right side, in the big circle, you have us, you guys, retail traders. You have the banks, you have the institutions, you have the hedge funds, etc. That is dumb money. Smart money is the market makers, and it is a small group of families that control and own and play with the markets however they like. That's the landscape, and that's how the markets work. That's how they've worked for a long, long time. All right. Now, before placing any trade, you have to have this in your mind. The market makers are the driving force behind every large price leg. Always have them in mind before any trade you place. I'm not allowed to go into too much detail about who the market makers are, right? But I will tell you that there definitely is a market-making entity, and they control all the markets around the world, whether it's crypto, whether it's Forex and futures and whatever. They control all the markets around the world. It's a very small group of people. And us as retail traders, we are nothing but we're like fleas on the dog's back going for a ride. Right? Like a ship in the middle of the sea, controlled by the waves. Right? Like a tree leaf in the autumn air. And this is something you have to deeply internalize, which is understanding there's market makers who control the markets, and then we're going to try and I'll show you how to find and look for cues that they give as signals for entries, or as signals that a large price move is going to happen. And that's basically turtle soup. Right, and that's all I will say about this topic. Don't text me asking me to explain more. Don't email me. This is the last time. I've said too much, but I won't be going any further in this topic. Perhaps in the in-person events and the book, but as far as CU is concerned, this is all I will say about the market makers. Right. Now, the chart you see in front of you, you have marked on the left side a swing high, and then you have a swing low down there, and you have another line there, up, right. But before we go into the details, we have to understand that every single candle you see in front of you, what's a candle? What is a candle? A candle is data. A candle is data of either a lot of buying going on or a lot of selling, right? We use candles to derive and try and predict the directions of the next candles. That's what we're doing. Yes, we are predicting, not reacting. Right? So anyone who says you're reacting, even when you're reacting, you are predicting that there will be a reaction. Right? So we use these candles, this data you see in front of you, to predict price moves. And I know so far this has been a mouthful and a brainful for most of you. So feel free to pause and rewatch to try and catch the stuff you missed. And of course, always watch with a notebook in hand, right? Excuse me. Now we're going to quantify the actions of the market makers, and I have created a certain language which I'll teach you in depth and see you. But let's start with the basics. First of all, we have the open, high, low, and close. Right? Very basic. It's the way candles are formed. An up-close candle on the left side is formed by an open, low, high, and close. And a down-close candle is formed by the open, high, low, and close. Right? And on a bar chart, this is a little trivia. On a bar chart, is the open the left side or the right side? That's a little self-corrected homework for you to answer. Right, the open, high, low, and close is one of the two main concepts we trade based on as CRT and Turtle Soup traders, right? Open, high, low, and close. The shape of the higher time frame candle. You want to try and guess it just by looking at the outer shape of the candle, right? We are candle traders. What does that mean? That means we're trying to trade certain candles, whether that's a weekly candle, whether it's a daily candle, whether it's a monthly candle, a 4-hour candle, a 1-hour candle. It's unadvisable to go below that, right? But you're trying to go and look at a candle. Now, if this candle, as you can see on the left side, there's a CRT candle right there, the candle can either be turtle souped, right? So candle 1, the thick down close candle, turtle soup, and then it goes higher. Or it can be a close below CRT, which then goes lower or higher, right? So it's either going to turtle soup, as you can see on the left side, or it's going to stay within the candle, or it's going to close out of the candle's range, right? These are the only possible 3 outcomes of any candle at all, right? Once again, let that sink in. Whichever candle you're trying to trade, whether it's the weekly candle, daily candle, the monthly candle, whatever, the next candle you are trying to trade only has one of these three outcomes. Either a wick above or below, either it keeps trading inside, more consolidation, or it escapes the range and closes out of the range. Right? And I want you all to become, as much as possible, experts at narrowing things down and reaching a very narrow set of conclusions, because as the saying goes, in the eyes of an amateur, there are many possibilities. But in the eyes of an expert, there are few. Right? CRT terminology. Now I'm just going to read this out for you over here. Excuse me. CRT stands for candle range theory. CRTH is CRT high. And these are all markings you'll see on my charts and on the charts of the CRT students. CRTL is CRT low. Minus target is a bearish target. Plus target is a bullish target. Minus kiss of death turtle soup is a bearish kiss of death turtle soup. Plus KODTS is bullish kiss of death turtle soup. Breaker, FVG, rejection block, and we'll see examples of all of these, obviously, in the upcoming lectures and in the FAQs. Minus FS, failure swing, bearish. Plus FS, bullish failure swing. Turtle soup, fake market structure shift, fake bullish and bearish market structure shift, weekly opening price, daily opening price, pre-open liquidity pool, weekly opening time, closing time, daily opening time, and closing time, model number 1, bullish and bearish, retrade to model number 1, which is either an OTE or a direct trade right after the model 1 is created. And we'll see all of these. There's a special chapter on entry models. 50% is halfway point of the price range. GCT is the golden candle time. This is one of the best times to day trade. From around 8:15 a.m. all the way up to 1 p.m. Right. 9 a.m. is also fine. But I like to go and start hunting from 8:15 a.m. Kill zones are basically the hunting time, right? New York time, which is all the kill zones are based on New York time. The Asian kill zone is from 8 p.m. New York time, all the way up to midnight New York time. The London kill zone is from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. The New York kill zone, is from 8:15 a.m. all the way up to 2 p.m. all in New York time, right? And there's an important distinction to be made between the kill zones and the candle opening and closing times. These are the best times to day trade. And more often than not, these are also the best times, and you better be noting this, these are the best times at which long-term swing points form also. Right? Now, should you be a swing trader or should you be a scalper? And the answer is none. It doesn't matter, because a candle is a candle. What you see in front of you can either be, it can be a 4-hour candle, or it can be 2 4-hour candles beside each other. It can be a daily candle. It can be 2 weekly candles. It can be 2 monthly candles. So the idea of scalping and swing trading and whatever is outdated. It is now officially replaced. I replace it with candle trading. Right, so when the group chat opens, then I don't want to see anyone talking about swing trading or scalping or whatever. And if they do, they must mean candle trading, right? So I'm trading the daily candle. I'm trading the weekly candle. I'm trading the 4-hour candle. And if you're going to use the term swing and scalp and whatever, then use it strictly having the candles in mind, right? Now, one of the most important concepts is the pre-open liquidity pool, PLP. This is something I have not spoken about publicly or privately before, at least not explicitly. Right, I have mentioned it in my private, one-to-one group previously, in the past, right? But here you have it. The pre-open liquidity pool is a swing high or low that happened before the opening price. It is expected to mark the high or low of the next candle. It is one of the most crucial factors to the hunting stages. And the hunting stages are as follows. As you can see, you have in the vertical lines the opening time, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then look at the relationship between price when it attacks the pre-opening time liquidity pool, turtle soup. Start all the way from the left. Right, you see those 2 red dots? Those are pre-open liquidity pools being stabbed into, then reversed. Right, and again, pre-open liquidity pools. All of those, every single red dot is a pre-open liquidity pool. You can even, these are weekly candles. You can dissect them even further into an infinite loop of pre-open liquidity pools being turtle souped and then traded away from. Right? So again, in very simple terms, the pre-open liquidity pool is a part of the sequence of opening time. So the candle opens, it stabs, and I want you to imagine as I'm explaining this, I want you to imagine in your mind how it plays out. The candle opens, it wiggles around a little bit, then it goes and it stabs into a pre-open liquidity pool, and then it rallies away. Upwards, for example, as you can see right here. Look at the third box. You can see price opens. It stabs down into the pre-open liquidity pool all the way to the left, and then it rallies violently upwards. Right. What are the hunting stages, and how can you use the what's the importance of the PLP in the hunting stages? Now, the hunting stages are 3. First of all, you're going to mark the opening time, and you're going to mark a potential pre-open liquidity pool, which will mark the bottom. Next up, that's stage 1. Stage 2 is you wait for a reaction to form off of the pre-open liquidity pool. As you can see right now, focus on the chart. Opening time, it trades down into the pre-open liquidity pool plus the model number 1, and then it produces a swing point. At this stage, you can put the stop loss as the swing lows low. The entry is now, and the target is that other pre-open liquidity pool up there, right? So you're trying to take liquidity basically from one pre-open liquidity pool, from one PLP to the other pre-open liquidity pool. And that is precisely what happened. right? With that fake retracement all the way down to sucker in everyone to thinking, it's not going to happen. But all it was a dump to stop out the early bulls and rally further into that other opposing pre-open liquidity pool. And this is timed ranges, right? That's stage 3. Daily rolls. This is when it comes to the weekly candle. And before we go into this one, again, I want you to really rewatch this part, especially at least 10 times, which is the PLP and the hunting stages. These are very, very crucial. The way I explained it, every single word, every tone of voice, every change in the tone of my voice, every letter is deliberate, right? These are the hunting stages. These are the stages you'll go through every single time you place a trade. And this can be any time frame. This can be a weekly candle, a daily candle, a 4-hour candle, right? Stage 1 is mark the landscape, mark a potential pre-open liquidity pool, which you're going to mark at the bottom. And then you wait for a reaction at your marked key level. And then you watch price rally into outer space, right? Now, the daily rolls of each day of the week. Monday is usually going to be accumulation, right? So up really fast and down real fast. Tuesday is going to be manipulation. And these are the official rolls of each day. If a roll switches, then you're going to have to learn to adapt and switch the rolls of the rest. And that's where critical thinking comes in mind. NCU, all of you who've joined, and those who will join later, right? You have to try and acquire the skill of critical thinking. Otherwise, this is all a waste of time. And it's going to be, most of you are probably going to fail miserably a lot. And the few of you who actually drag themselves back up and try again and again and again, regardless of the failure, those will prevail, right? And it'll be especially beneficial for those who have been part of previous private groups. But this is designed for everyone, right? So no matter what your level is, this is the official CRT guide. Moving forward, just see you. Monday, accumulation. Tuesday, manipulation. Wednesday, distribution. Thursday, slowing down of continuation. And then Friday usually caps the weekly range. Now, Thursday, Friday, both usually will cap the weekly range. And let's look at what that looks like in a candle. Right, and why does this matter? Why do these daily rolls matter? They matter if you are trading the weekly candle because you have to know what to do on each day. If you know Monday is going to be accumulation most likely, or that's its role, then you are less trigger happy on Monday. On Tuesday, you start looking for a setup, a high of the week, to potentially form. And I can just hear some of you saying, yeah, but sometimes it forms on Tuesday, on Wednesday or Monday. Yes, it does. That's why I mentioned 2 seconds ago that these are the officially designated roles to each day. If one of them switches up, then you have to go and adapt the rest to the switch up. Right, that's very important. But this is the basic and the most common route. Tuesday, you start looking for a setup potentially. Wednesday, you look for an OTE to happen to continue the top of Tuesday, right? So Wednesday is usually a very easy day to trade. Thursday is a slowing down of continuation, but still you can trade in the direction of whatever happened in the week previously. Friday caps the weekly range, so sometimes it offers you. They offer you on Thursday and Friday a trade that caps the weekly range, and this is not me. This is not some garbage. This is the market maker's schedule. This is how the market maker plays with the emotions of the masses to make as much money as possible. All right. Daily rolls within the week. Now look at the weekly open marked in the solid vertical line. That's Monday, and then you have Tuesday, and then Wednesday is a nice OTE continuation, and then Thursday, and in this case, Friday dumped with no mercy, right? So I really want you to focus on mainly on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the idea, and write this down, the idea that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday form the high or low of the week, and Thursday, Friday form they cap the opposing end of the range. Right, that's the idea I'm trying to put in your mind right now. Time. Time is more important than price. This is a statement that has been so overused that it doesn't really have a meaning anymore. But that's a good thing, because now nobody knows what it means except the very few. And there's a lot of charlatans on social media, all over, on YouTube, on Twitter, and X, Telegram, whatever. There is a plethora of charlatans, frauds, scammers who claim to hold some sort of secret knowledge about time. And in case you were doubting, not a single one of them knows what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. Right? They're frauds, they're charlatans. Nobody knows what time actually means anymore. Right? I will teach you in CU exactly what it means. But this is the only place on the entire internet where you can learn reliably what time actually means and the importance of time, actually, right? It's going to be over here in CU, in CSS, in the book, in the private events, only inside the bounds of CU. And of course, whatever public information I have already released, right? But here's a simple example of why time is more important than price. Now let's use, I'll be using, I'd like to use a real example of you guys, but this is a monologue, so perhaps in the in-person events and the FAQs, right? But let's say there's two traders. There's trader A and there is trader B, right? So there's trader A and there is trader B. Right? Trader A buys this chart over here at this price level, right? Trader B buys this chart over here at the same price level. However, Trader A entered and made money, and trade would be entered at the same exact price level, and he lost money instantly, right? So both traders entered at the same price, but the difference was the time of entry, and that was the difference between making money and losing money, right? So this is something you should always keep in mind, and this applies in all time frames. This could be a weekly chart, this could be a daily chart, this could be a monthly chart. This, folks, this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the importance of time. Now, one more thing is the idea of trend and range. The charts are moving, and we have previous schools of thought like ICT who have mentioned consolidation, retracement, and whatever, but that's too ambiguous. The correct way to think about this is as follows. The charts move in a trend, a range, and then a trend, and then a range, and then a turtle soup, and then a trend, and then a range, and then a turtle soup, and then a trend, and so on, right? Range, turtle soup, trend. Range, turtle soup, trend. Range, SMT, trend. Range, trend, and so on. It's a range, and then a trend, and then a range, turtle soup, and then a trend, and then a trend, and then a range, turtle soup, and then a trend, and so on. Range, trend. So the way I want you to view the charts is in the through the lens of ranges and trends, and ranges and trends. We're either ranging or we're trending. Try to avoid entering while it's ranging. Enter at or after, right after turtle soup, and then enjoy profiting off the trend. Once again, I repeat, for those of you who need repetition, avoid, first of all, think of the charts in terms of ranges and turtle soups and trends, and that's it. And an SMT is part of turtle soup, obviously, right? Because the asset class that SMT'd, the other one turtle souped, right? So range, turtle soup, trend, range, turtle soup, trend, and so on. Right? That's the way I want you to think about trading and the charts. Right? So it always has to fit into the concept of range, turtle soup, trend. That's one thing. The other thing is avoid consolidations, the range phase. Enter at the end of the range phase, which can usually, very often, be timed, which will be taught in video library number 2. Enter at the end of the consolidation, turtle soup, and then profit off of the trend, right? Right, as you can see, range, trend, range, trend, range, trend, range over here, turtle soup, trend, range over there, turtle soup, another range, and a trend, and then a range, turtle soup, and a trend, range, turtle soup, and a trend, and so on. And this is how life works in the markets, right? So I really want you to, at least those who are taking this seriously, right? Because the fee to be part of CU is nothing. It's like peanuts. It's, for most people, it's a stop loss, right? But I really want to weed out the dedicated ones amongst you, those who are going to listen to every single letter and word I say. Those are usually the ones who become the best. Right? those are usually the ones who advance and prevail and become the best. Excuse me. Right? And you'll have time to take things seriously in the upcoming months in CSS, in the book, in the private chat, and we'll see. 2026 looks like it's shaping to be an excellent year. Now, you're going to develop an X-ray vision of the charts by the end of CU. If you don't see an instant result at once, and there's always going to be there's always that small group of people who complain and just want it all at once. No, I'm not going to take instructions from you how to teach. I have trained tens of thousands of successful traders along the years. I know exactly how to take you from a nobody to a successful trader, whether that's by consistent results in form of income per month, potentially, or whether it's in the form of reaching a very high net worth. I have trained tens of thousands of people from all walks of life. Doctors and lawyers and engineers and CEOs and business owners and college dropouts and college students, high school graduates, middle school. I've trained any kind of person any kind of person you can imagine. I've trained and made successful, right? So I know exactly how to train you into being somebody, right? And of course, with every that's something that happened to me as a teacher is the more people I taught, the more efficient it was for me to realize how to teach even better. Meaning, person number 10,000 or student number 10,000 is going to learn a lot faster and a lot more efficiently than student number 1. Right? So that's your advantage. You are the latest batch in CU. You are learning the best methods in the best possible way. And that's the advantage of joining the new courses. Right? That's a common question is, why should we join every course you put out, every book, whatever? Because the newer students learn better and faster. Right? Because the methods don't change, obviously, but my techniques as a teacher, as a creator of monsters, of successful, profitable traders, definitely becomes more efficient, right? Now, you have to develop an X-ray vision of the charts, meaning you look at the charts from a multi-dimensional perspective, from the higher time frame candle shape, and by looking at this higher time frame candle shape, I want you to be able to imagine, or at least have a strong idea that about the shape of the lower time frame price action, right? So this candle is, let's say for example, it's a weekly candle, right? This is going to be the weekly open, and this is going to be the weekly close, and this is going to be the open, low, high, and close, which is an up close candle, which is this right here, right? And this is the X-ray vision I want you to develop from watching these lectures and being partaking in all parts of CU. That's one more thing I received a lot of questions in the email is, do you recommend I join the CSS and the book and whatever? Make sure to absorb every single piece of information you can. Get the books, If you can get into CSS, right? Details about that will come in January. But make sure to partake as much as you can in everything you can in CU. All of it. Right? You're now within the closed bounds of this private group. Make sure to take as much advantage as possible. Forget everyone else. Just imagine it was only you in the group alone. Imagine you're the only person inside CU. That's how I want you to deal with it. Right? Imagine that I'm only teaching you, because really, the reality is that no one else matters. Nobody matters. It's only you and me, the mentor. We two are the only person that matter in the equation of making you, turning you into a successful trader. Nobody else. None of your colleagues, none of your fellow members, nobody's going to help you. Nobody can help you. The way this works is I give you the information. I teach you the information. You go and you apply the information in your charts, and you do this and that and the other, and you go and practice, and you put in the chart time, and you put your money at risk if you want to, and you learn, and you become rich. Right? It's a two-person deal. Me and you. Nobody else matters. Not my followers, not my subscribers, not the fellow CU students. Nobody matters. Now, are you an emotional person? Emotions in trading are very important. Controlling the emotions is very important. You have to learn to disconnect yourself from the money. Completely detach yourself from the money aspect of trading, and that seems difficult, especially if you're trading out of necessity. Then it becomes almost impossible. But the reality is that the less you care, the more likely you are to make money trading. The less you need the money, the more likely you will make more money, right? The more emotional you are, and it's okay if you are an emotional person outside of trading. Excuse me. I'm not saying become an absolute psychopath. I'm saying have emotions. Emotions are a good. They're part of being a human being. But try and limit and keep your emotions out of your trading as much as possible. Emotions are a killer in trading. If you tie your state of happiness to whether you're winning or losing, then you will be forever sad and depressed, because losses are guaranteed in this game, and that is part of letting emotion take over your trading. The most robotic, least emotional person amongst you will be the best trader. If all other things obviously are equal, like the chart time and the practice and whatever, right? Right? News. News doesn't matter. High impact news, and this is another topic of debate. High impact news doesn't really matter beyond a little bit of extra caution, because on the lower time frame you're gonna have strange, unpredictable, abnormally volatile price action. That's all that it matters, because everything's in the charts. If you never know that the news exists, like if you completely disregard the existence of the news and you focus solely on the charts and the candles and the emotions of the traders, then you will be very successful in knowing where price. In fact, even more successful than someone who's distracted by 10,000 news reports, right? And this takes me back to the emotional part of trading. Emotions and trading based on emotions is a very advanced skill which will be discussed in the future inside CU, both in the normal CU and in CSS and the book and the in-person events especially, right? Trading based, and also in the video library number 2. Trading based off of emotions is one of the most niche, highest level ways of trading that there is, and it's not very used. As I'm saying it, you're probably like wondering, what the fuck is he talking about, right? Which is exactly how it should be. But to start off, I want you to go and mark your emotions during your trades, because they will be what you will trade against in the future as a profitable trader, right? So your profitable self will trade and fade the emotions of your non-profitable self, right? I hope you found that insightful. I wish you all good luck, good trading, and see you in lesson 9. All right, folks, welcome to lesson 9, the CRT vault. Stop whatever you're doing, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea or milk or whatever, and pull out your notebook and pen. Now, CRT today in 2025, CRT has pretty much gone mainstream, right? Every single major trading influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers, even millions of followers, they're all secretly using CRT. That's a fact. And you can see it in their charts, right? They can try and hide all they want, but it's right there, hidden in plain sight. And I've been accused of this myself. I've been accused of taking ICT and repackaging it, but that's false. CRT and Turtle Soup, the system I have introduced to the trading world, is something completely new. It has never, ever existed before in the form of a complete tradable system. Once again, just so you know, so you're reminded of the gravity of what you're learning. This is a system which I've seen consistently take tens of thousands of traders from being heavily in debt to now living their dream life. And that's a very common statement used as a marketing gimmick by a lot of trading mentors. But I've actually seen this happen. And that's one of the reasons why I've had one of the fastest uprises in the history of trading. Right? Because the truth shines bright in a world full of lies. And the truth is CRT and Turtle Soup. Right? And yes, I do tend to go on rants, but that's part of the package. Right? That's part of the mentoring process. And the best of you are those who absorb everything that comes out of my mouth. It's never going to be as simple as, you know what, buy here, sell here, CRT low, high, buy, goodbye. No. That's not a mentorship. That's, you can open any AI chatbot and get that from them, not from me. If you're going to come and learn from me, if you're going to come and learn from the best, then I have taught you in the chapter Mindset Shift how to learn from the best to become the best. right? Now, first of all, how did I arrive at CRT? Now, many of you know the story, and many don't. I have tried every single trading system under the sun, whether it's supply and demand, whether it's Elliott waves, whether it's classic price action, whether it's GAN, whether it's harmonics, crab patterns. Yes, that's real. ICT as well. Right? All of these led me to ICT, and then ICT, while studying ICT, I had an epiphany of CRT, and that's where that came from. And that's the only way I can explain it, is as an epiphany. ICT himself has joined CU with a burner account to learn more about CRT. And no, I'm not going to expose him. I'll leave that for you guys, right, in the group chat to go and discover who it is. Although it's not important, right? What matters is the knowledge and how you apply it and how you better your life using the information in CU, right? But I studied all of the technical analysis schools, stuff which I haven't mentioned here, which you probably haven't even heard of, right? And the end result was CRT. Now, it cannot be approved because perhaps some of you are thinking, is there a better version than CRT? And the answer is no. Every single person you see on social media claiming that there is a better system is simply full of shit. Right? This is the most complete system. I pretty much have a 100% win rate in my private trading, right? And if you study my words, and I've seen this happen with a lot of my students, by the way, which a lot of them are completely private and off social media, right? Students who have made millions and millions and millions of dollars, US dollars, right? Not rupees. They take the knowledge, they take the information, they apply it, they make money, and they go and live their lives, right? Not like the dogs you see barking on social media. There is no betterment of the system. This is the final form of the system, which will be taught completely in both in CU, in all its parts, in CSS, in the book, in both video libraries. This, you're going to get the complete system inside here, right? Obviously not everything, but more than enough to become absolutely exceptional as a trader. Now, I arrived at CRT after trying everything else and realizing everything else was a bunch of horse shit, really. And everything can be narrowed down. Everything technical-wise can be narrowed down to the slide you saw in lesson 8 of the candles, which is CRT is basically trading candles, right? Excuse me. So the candle you're trying to trade is the current candle. You're going to take data from the previous candle or candles to try and predict what happens to the current candle. So if the previous candle wicked below or above, then you expect a candle 3 upwards, right? If the previous candle closed within, then you expect more consolidation in anticipation of a volatile price move. And of course, if you have the candle closing below or above the previous candle, then you can expect a continuation downwards in the direction of the higher time frame candle, right? So this really is all that it boils down to. Is we're trading candles. CRT is trading candles. The candle either wicks, stays inside, or closes out of the previous candle's range, right? Now, how do you trade each of these? And here comes the juicy stuff. And I won't be using actual charts for this one, right? I'll be using illustrations. And charts will come in the second video library, right? This is just a way to program your mind into thinking a certain way, right? To lay the foundation. So scenario 1 of 3, how do you capitalize on this? By having and taking advantage of the X-ray vision, which you saw in lesson 8, right? X-ray vision is if it wicks below the candle, then you're going to wait for candle 3, candle 1, 2, you're going to wait for candle 3 to open, wick below, and then rally upwards all the way up to candle 4, right? So your focus as a CU member is to try and master trading candle number 3, right? And this has been stolen. This entire idea of candle 1, 2, 3 has been blatantly stolen by a very famous YouTuber in the trading community, right? Which is a shame. But that's how life goes, right? You make a great invention and it gets stolen from people who lack authentic idea production, right? So they resort to stealing a better idea. That's part of life, and you can't get mad at it. But what I can do is warn you against trying to learn from a second-hand source. I am the author of the source. If you try and learn from someone else, because you think my stuff is too complex or whatever, then you are genuinely doing yourself, and I say this not so you keep watching, and I don't say this so you keep buying my courses, whatever, books. My life doesn't change if you buy these or you don't. Yours does, right? So you don't benefit me one bit by being in here. You benefit yourself, and that's something you have to understand. But you genuinely are doing yourself a disservice if you try and learn about CRT and turtle soup from anyone other than me. Because all you'll do, and I've seen this happen again and again, is you'll waste time going and flip-flopping from one to another to a third student who will give you missing information anyway, and then you'll eventually come back to me again. And I've seen this happen many times. Right, so don't be stupid. Don't waste time. Dig your heel in the sand. It's complex. It's difficult. I've had doctors, and I'm a doctor myself. It is very complex learning how to trade. But once you battle through the complexity, then simplicity prevails. Right, but never expect it to be as easy as here. Here's a strategy, go buy and sell and make money. That's not true. And anyone who's telling you it's true is either trying to make some ad revenue off you or make you buy some RefLink, right? So candle 1, 2, 3. Your focus is on mastering candle 3, right? And the way you trade candle 3 is by understanding that through X-ray vision. Let's look at these candles again. Right, so on the outside you see this, you see 4 candles. On the inside you will see a lot of price action happening, right? A downtrending candle, and then you'll see a break in time, consolidation, the candle opens, and then it takes, this is candle 2, and this is candle 1, of course, and this is something I haven't mentioned before. You can trade candle 1. That's a valid trade. Only if you know that it is candle 1 and it's going to stop at a certain key level. It's going to stop at a certain key level. Then you may trade candle 1 all the way down bearishly, knowing it's going to reverse at the key level, right? Candle 2 is going turtle soup candle 1 into the key level and then explode higher. Candle 2 is the most difficult candle to trade. It's not easy, right? Which is why I'm telling you to avoid it as much as you can as a beginner. CRT trader. I don't care how much experience you have in other schools of thought, how many years you've been trading supply and demand. I don't care how many millions you've made trading Elliott waves. Now you are in my class. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a complete beginner, right? Then you have candle 3 is fairly easy. They're going to open, they're going to dump, and then they rally higher, right? So the difference between candle 2 and 3 is in the volatility and the uncertainty of where price is going to stop at the key level. That's why you have to avoid candle 2 as much as you can, right? And focus on candle 3. Candle 3 is a very profitable business model because we as traders, after all, we are pretty much business owners of our trading accounts. If you're a smart business owner, then you get to have a profitable business, and vice versa, right? So candle 1, 2, and 3. Excuse me. Right? Now, obviously, you will eventually learn how to trade candle 2 in video library number 2 and the book. Right? That's something for later. But don't even think about trading candle number 2 at all. Don't think about trading candle number 2. Focus on candle number 3. Once you master candle 3, and as you're mastering, and note every single thing I'm saying down, as you're mastering candle number 3, keep observing candle number 2 at the same time. Right, so observe how candle 2 forms while mastering candle number 3, and then you will eventually know exactly how candle 2 looks, and you will be able to trade it, right? Now this is, obviously, this is when candle number 2 is a manipulation candle, right? So wick below, higher prices. Next up we have the scenario what if the candle closes below the previous candle? Then what are you looking for? Then again, you pull out your X-ray vision and you're going to see something like this. You're going to see down, turtle soup, consolidation over here, time, and then they close below, right? They close below candle 1, and then you can be sure that candle number 3 is going to do the same exact thing. So in both scenarios, when they wick and they close, you're looking for them to go open. If you're bearish, open, go higher, then dump. Right, so open, you're trying to enter inside this wick, right? Which will obviously, coincidentally, be a breaker, or it'll be a turtle soup, into an FVG or whatever. All those names come secondary to the candle shape you're trying to trade. How much protraction, how much manipulation is going to happen in the candle? Are they going to stop here? Will they go all the way up here? Will it be minimal, sometimes barely any manipulation? Right? Those are scenarios you'll have to, and that's stuff you'll have to get used to by watching the charts. Right, and eventually you'll be able to tell how do you know if they're gonna stay over here and dump, as opposed to they go a bit higher into a certain key level and they dump, right? That is scenario number 2, which is closing below. Now the third scenario is they simply, you have candle 1, and always mark the candle you're trading. All right, candle 1, 2, 3. And then you have candle 2 trading inside candle 1. In this case, you do nothing. These are called inside candles, right? These are called inside candles when a lot of candles are trading inside one large candle. And this is usually a volatility filter, which means when I see consolidation of many candles inside one candle, that means I can expect a very volatile price action to occur in the upcoming candles, because it can't go on forever. That's not how it works, right? So what's eventually going to happen in this is they either go and wick below violently, in which case you'll have scenario 1, rewind the video, or they may break out of this range, right? In which case you will go and apply the adequate protocol, right? That's regarding the 3 shapes of trade you're going to have as a CRT trader. They can almost always be narrowed down to one of these 3. And go back to any of your trades, go to the larger candle, the weekly candle, and look at how it always was one of these 3. Right? I invite you to go pause the video and go look back at the 2-3 weeks back and blow your mind, or daily candles as well. Right? Now, something I want to touch up on again, which was mentioned in lesson 8, but is very important, is the idea of range, turtle soup, trend, range, and then a trend, and then a range, and then a trend, and so on. This is a very crucial part of seeing and learning CRT, right? Because what you see here is, or the layperson sees here, is a bunch of gibberish. But you should eventually be seeing that this is candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3 in action, which is also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right? Now, when it comes to actual entry models, that's why we have the next lesson after this one. Right, but before thinking about entering, and if you're thinking right now as I'm speaking, just tell me just give me the entry model. No, I won't. That's not how this works. You first have to have a solid idea of how the candle prints, which is why I always encourage you to learn to predict consistently and then go ahead and try and catch trades, which is why the lessons are in this order. Lesson 9 first, and then lesson 10. All right? Now, when it comes to CRT, all right, folks, welcome to lesson 10 of CU. Models. Entry models. Now, in this lesson, you're going to see 3 main entry models. First of all, model number 1. Second of all, true market structure shift. And after that, we're going to have the kiss of death turtle soup, right? And these are the main entry models we are going to trade, and you are advised to trade forever. Right? Practice these models 10,000 times and avoid looking for others. These are enough. These are more than enough. These have made me personally millions and millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. And they have made my students a lot of money. And they have carved very successful trading careers. Right? Excuse me. Just it never goes away. Right? Probably is never going to go away. Right. So first of all, we have model number 1. Model number 1 is basically the idea that they stab into, and when I say they, I mean the market makers, they stab into an old high with a thick up-close candle, and then they close below that thick up-close candle. That is model number 1, right? Right, so if you zoom in on this right here, then you will see a thick up-close candle, and then they close below that thick up-close candle, and as soon as they close below, that is the entry trigger. You enter over here, right? Stop loss at the high of the candle, entry over here, and targeting the 50% and then the CRT low, right? Excuse me. That is the bearish model number 1. Bullish model number 1 is simply reversed, right? You have a low, they wiggle around, they stab into the old low with a thick down close candle below the low, and then they close above that thick down close candle, and that is the trigger of entering on the bullish model number 1, right? That is, and of course targeting previous highs one by one. The instant previous high, and then the 50%, and then the CRT high. Excuse me, right? Next up you have the true market structure shift. You're looking for a low, and then a high, and then a lower low So the high broke the low, and then they break above the high that broke the low. As soon as they close above this convincingly, then that is a valid, true market structure shift. Look for them to wiggle around and then go higher, right? That is a bullish, true market structure shift. And a bearish, true market structure shift is simply that but reversed. High, low, higher, high, breaking below the low that broke the high, and then trading lower in the second leg of an OTE. The true market structure shift is pretty much an OTE, right? And it can be either an OTE or a trade into the breaker, right? And finally, you have the kiss of death turtle soup, which is there's a pending target, right? And this is one of the easiest models because the move is pretty much done, right? So you have candle 1, candle 2, and then candle 3 usually is the candle that has kiss of death. Before reaching the target, CRTI for example, they wiggle around, they range, they turtle soup, and that right there is the kiss of death turtle soup, right? Which then pushes price to the target, right? So the last turtle soup before the target is the kiss of death turtle soup, and vice versa. Inverse kiss of death turtle soup, right? Right, so quick summary is model number 1 is, what is it? It's the up close candle that liquidated an old high, closed below, or the down close candle that liquidated an old low, closed above, right? A true market structure shift will either give you a breaker entry, which is the up close candle that liquidated the old low, or the down close candle, which was the cause, or the down close candle right before price raced up into an old high. And we'll see examples of that, right? Number 3 is the kiss of death turtle soup, one of my favorites, right? Now aim for at least 1 to 3 RR with these entry models, excuse me. Right? Usually you'll get a higher yield, but aim for at least 1 to 3. 1 to 3, not 1, 2, 3. Right? That's one thing. Excuse me. And let's see an example of each one on the chart we have right now. Right, so here we have a low, and then we have them stabbing into the old low. And before we see this example, let's see a more clear example, right? Here we have a low, and then we have this one specific thick up close candle stabbing into the old low. As soon as they close above this candle, it is a valid entry for a buy, right? And that is precisely what happened. Stop loss is normally going to be right over here at the low. There are methods to refine the stop loss, which is using, and this is something where you want to take notes, right? You really want to take notes at this part. Refining your stop loss. That is a whole new topic. But the low of the model number one is a good stop loss. If it's too far, or it seems like it's too far away, then you can rely on lows that had a purpose, lows that served a purpose. For example, this is a low that rebalanced or retraded to a rejection block right here. This is a low that turtle souped, and a turtle souped low is usually a low which is safe, right? Because if you enter after the turtle soup, then normally, if done correctly, then you won't be turtle souped, right? Unless there is a turtle soup, which is rare and somewhat predictable. Another way, all right, so turtle soup lows are good stop losses, and another stop loss when refining your stop losses is using lows that retraded to order blocks or fair value gaps. In this case, you can look within this chop fest for a stop loss low, but the safest low is going to be the model number one low, and the next safest is going to be something that either retraded to an FVG order block or rejection block, or a very clear turtle soup where people are stopped out before the up move, right? And then you go ahead and you start targeting. Now, let's say you targeted this high. First of all, you would have to have a valid reason. Is it a CRT? Is it a timed high? What is it? Why? Is it just for no reason? Second of all, you're going to look for, did the low form at a certain time, which is designated for creating lows of the week or the day or whatever you're trading. Excuse me. Meaning, if this is a weekly candle and this is a Tuesday low, right, then that is usually a good signal. If it's not, then you become more cautious, right? And this is the part where you keep taking rigorous notes. That's one aspect. The second aspect is you have to make sure to keep an eye on old lows as a reversal point, especially if there is no, in this example, we're not going to see if there's a CRT or no, right? Or an SMT or whatever, or the time. But these are factors to keep in mind, right? So at old lows, expect a reaction. In this case, it was a reversal. And in such circumstances, you're going to learn how to either close the trade or break even, depending on the circumstance. But in most cases, if you see price reacting unfavorably, so you're bullish and it's being bearish, then what I like to do, if I'm in a profit, is simply take the profit and wait for a better setup, which serves me better, which gives me a better reaction. I'm in no hurry whatsoever, at all, ever, to be in a trade. And that's the mindset that you should have. Right, here's another example of a model number one. Right over here, you have a low over here. And then you have this low also, which stabbed into the previous low. And I chose this example on purpose because it's an atypical model number one, right? Excuse me. Right, so in this case, you're going to go and focus on this, the largest candle, the largest down close candle, which liquidated the old low, which is this one, right? And I'm going to use this one as my model number one. This one specific candle It's not a zone, it's not a bunch of candles, it's one specific candle I'm using to push price higher into this CRT high, for example, right? The first indication that this is going to reach the CRT high is the creation of the model number one, right? So you would enter as so. As soon as they close above, it is valid to enter right here. Stop loss at the low, targeting the old highs one by one until the final target, right? And something you have to go and weather out yourself. I can never be there with you, is weathering out the storm of the messy price action into model number one and all the way up, and all the reversals and all the chop fest, the emotions you feel as it's going down, almost as they're hitting the target and then going back down again, right? That's stuff you have to learn and journal and get used to with more trade. The answer is more trades. Take more trades. Place more trades. I'm not saying gamble your house. I'm saying take more trades, right? Even if you take many small size trades, that can be very beneficial in as a tape reading practice, right? Which is getting used to the candles and how they print. Now, the actual reason this reversed is because right here and not here is because when there's an order block with a long wick to the downside, when there's a bullish model number one with a long wick to the downside, then usually you can use the closing price as a rejection block, and this is the power of rejection blocks. Right? Rejection block right there, which is also, it can be a doubling down on your entry right there. Excuse me. Then they go and push higher. This is the first entry model, which is model number one. Excuse me, once again. That's a lot of excuse me's for one lecture. Model number one. And then you have the second kind of entry, which is the true market structure shift right over here, right? The true market structure shift right over there, which is when they have a low and then they have a high, and then the up close candle before the rally down is the breaker. This right here is the breaker candle, right? And as I said before, the entry can either be an OTE or a breaker. In this case, it was the breaker, right? And usually when the breaker is a valid breaker, then the reaction is instant, and it is one of the few legitimate ways to get an almost zero drawdown trade, right? Breakers are one of the best ways to get a zero drawdown entry. So they go and close above the breaker right here. They retrade into the breaker once and twice, and a lower time frame that's a range, which looks like a double bottom. So dumb money turtle soup traders would have been wrecked. Instead of this, they did this SMT, very likely over there, right? And they go higher. Then and this is this journey, they go and bump into a rejection block. And rejection blocks, usually their job is to do the following. Their job is to produce a retracement before reaching the final target. Rejection blocks are used to produce a retracement before the final target. That's a quote, right? right, leaving behind these equal highs, and then it dumps, ranges, and then it smacks back up, almost hits the target, the CRT high, but then dumps below once again. And this right here is the kiss of death turtle soup. Why this? Why not this? Well, because you want the most recent turtle soup before the target was hit. Right, so in this, so you just saw all three models playing out right here, right? Low, and you have there a thick, large, down close candle. As soon as they close above that one specific candle, then the kiss of death turtle soup also has a model number 1 within it. And so does the breaker trade on the lower time frame. If you can trade the breaker by itself on the higher time frame, then the stop is the low of the breaker over here. Target is over there. Kiss of death gives you another entry over here, and this goes into the topic of pyramiding, which is something we will discuss in later, right? In later. Right, so we have this right over here. So once again, you have 3 entry models. You have model number 1, the up close candle that liquidated an old high, or the down close candle that liquidated an old low. And then you have the true market structure shift entries, either a breaker or an OTE. And then you have the fastest entry, which is the kiss of death turtle soup, the final turtle soup before hitting the final target. The last turtle soup before hitting the final target usually happens in the upper 25% of the range. This is candle 1 over here, candle 2, and candle 3, right? And all these concepts you saw are within it. The breakers, the FVGs, the OTEs, the model number 1s, the fib, the breakers, the rejection blocks. Everything is inside the market profile. Everything is happening within candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3, right? Right, and here we have an example of a bearish breaker, the one down close candle, and there's a lot of debate around definitions, but I give you the final and definitive definition. There's no guesswork. You'll never see me change this answer like you see Michael do, right? And Michael, I know you're in here watching this and learning, so I don't change the answer and the concept 1,000 times. This is what a breaker is. This is what a breaker always has been, and this is what a breaker always will be. It's not all these candles. It's not this candle. It's this candle right here, right? The direct cause of the rally that liquidated the old high. Excuse me. Right, and of course we have there a beautiful almost zero drawdown reaction from the breaker. The breaker is one of the most powerful key levels when it comes to producing almost zero drawdown reaction. So the breaker is created right here. When they close below the closing price, when they close below the closing price of the breaker, then the breaker has been activated. They trade into it once, and That one little retrade right there, zoom in right here, that one little retrade into the breaker caused this massive dump into the low, right? And that's how you catch trades using breakers as an extra nugget, which is not meant to be part of the entry models, but there you have it, right? Right, so to summarize, you have entry model number 1 and 2 and 3. These 3 entry models are all that exists in the system as high quality entry models. There are more, I have more models, and you will have the chance to learn those models as well. But everything, like 90% of the trades, feed back into these 3. Either a model number 1, with its nuances and details, obviously, right? And a true market structure shift, and a kiss of death turtle soup, right? Model number 1, here's some nuances. A thick up close candle is almost always more favorable than a not thick up close candle, right? Hold higher, close, activated, and vice versa. A true market structure shift can either result in a breaker, or it can result in an OTE. The intensity of the OTE, the way the OTE happens, how hard it goes down, does it go down into the 50% or the 60% or the 70% or the 886%? Those are all nuances of the OTE, right? Because sometimes you have the OTE, it goes just a little bit once and then it goes and rallies up. Sometimes you have an OTE where it goes really deep all the way down to the 0.886 Fibonacci level, and then it rallies higher, right? So even deeper than that. In this case, it'll be a failure swing, usually going to a rejection block, right? So those are nuances of the OTE. The kiss of death turtle soup usually happens in the upper 25% of the range, right? Because at the end of the day, this is a range low, range high. We're trading range low to range high. This is the stuff you see me doing ever since I joined social media, right? Range low, range high, range low, range high. Kiss of death is going to be in the upper 25% of a bullish range, or in the lower 25% of the bearish range, right? These are ideal, these are the officially designated rules and roles of each of these models. There are further variations, right? But that's not the norm, and you will learn the norm first, and then you will be allowed to go and delve into the exceptions, because exceptions don't disprove the rule and exceptions don't create the rule, right? And now your homework is as follows. Your homework is to mark 24 model number 1s bullish, 24 bearish model number 1s, 24 bullish breakers, 24 bearish breakers, 24 OTEs, and 24 bullish and bearish OTEs, 24 bullish kiss of death turtle soups, and 24 bearish kiss of death turtle soups. That is a mandatory homework. I'll be checking it in the group chat. Right? If it was hard to catch the first time, then you have the liberty of rewatching this as many times as you want. It's all yours. Right? And of course, all of those, the homework is supposed to be done within your asset class, the one you choose. Don't bring me 10 charts of 10 different asset classes. No. If you are a euro trader, then all of those examples will be given to me on euro. If you are a Bitcoin trader, then I'll see those examples of the models on Bitcoin only. Futures trader on ES, and so on. Right? So whichever market you have picked to trade, you will, and my recommendation if you ask for it is, right now, there is, choosing the market, usually, you want to look for a market that's going to move a lot on the higher time frame. Right, because those are usually, that gives you more larger range days with more potential upside. All right, so me currently, I'm focusing on Bitcoin. But that's a choice that you have to make. There's nothing wrong. All markets have a lot of money to be earned in each price swing. There's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, in each price leg. Right, so there's no reason you can't go and grab yourself a couple $100,000. Right, so within your chosen market, I want you to go and send me the examples of the homework only after watching all the lessons first. Right, I hope you found this insightful. I wish you good luck, good trading, and see you in lesson 11.